Good morning and welcome to the daily cyber briefing for Friday, the 14th of February. I'm Stephen Ridgway. Rapid7 has flagged a new zero-day vulnerability that is being exploited in the PostgreSQL uh, parts of, I'm not being very articulate again, am I today? So BeyondTrust. So it is a vulnerability against the BeyondTrust Remote Support product. And BeyondTrust is very commonly used environments for securely connecting third parties to corporate infrastructures in order to do various tasks. Often, I've seen it used regularly for controlling remote support, that kind of thing. Subsequently, and consequently, any vulnerabilities in a system like this are relatively serious. So, if you are using Beyond Trust remote support products, there is a recommendation that you firstly, my recommendation would be read the article, good article in Security Week that gives you pretty much all you need to know about this. Secondly, have a look. There are patches being released urgently by the PostgreSQL team. So there are patches coming out for version 17, 16, 15, 14, and 13. So expect there to be things going on in that space. If you're using PostgreSQL in other ways, then that's absolutely fine. Check for upgrades in the normal way. So watch out for that one. We don't often talk about industrial control system vulnerabilities, mainly because it's a bit of a niche area rather than anything else. However, CISA has released 20 industrial control system advisories. They cover various Siemens O-ring, IAP, MySCADA, and a handful of other, some Mitsubishi stuff. And including the cardio, QARDO, heart health, iOS and Android application, which cropped up as part of something we spoke about a little while ago. So it is worth having a little look at this if you are in an environment which uses industrial control systems. Or in this case, heart monitors or all sorts of other bits and pieces. If you are in an environment that is doing that sort of thing, have a little look at this. Hopefully, you will have patching and vulnerability management in place around your organization. However, it is worth having a check to see whether there's anything additional that you need to do. The advisories were released yesterday. Now, as we said before with CISA, they may not be the fastest to release information. They're certainly not tardy, but they're not aiming to be at the cutting edge. They're aiming to be accurate. So if they are saying there's an issue with something, you can be pretty certain that there is actually an issue with something. So definitely worth taking seriously, definitely worth having a look at. Make sure you've risk assessed. And you have put in place either a fix or at least a sustainable workaround for these vulnerabilities. On other matters, it may have passed you by, or it may not, depending, that there is a global security conference being hosted by the Germans in Munich at the moment. Global events do drive cyber, like the cyber threat landscape or the cyber landscape. So it is worth being aware of these sorts of things, even if you may not think that your organization is particularly targeted by stuff at that level. Bear in mind that it creates an environment where stuff is going on, and certainly nation state adversaries are not necessarily bothered about the specifics of targeting your organization. They just want to be able to control and cause disruption in various different ways, you may get swept up with it. So the key things. So there's a good report from Recorded Future. The good guys at Recorded Future. Of course, we don't plug anything on this. We certainly have no sponsorship from anybody or anything. But Recorded Future, I think, do a very solid job of providing a lot of good information to a lot of organisations. So their report on this talks about the rise of the risk the risk of an invasion of Taiwan, although not imminent, is looking increasingly likely. They talk also about Russian influence operations targeting German elections. Then there's a discussion around vulnerable Cisco devices of global telecommunication providers, and some discussion around North Korea's IT worker threat. I'm also aware, not actually covering this article, I am aware that I think at this conference, the whole Russia, US, Ukraine matter is being discussed as well, which most definitely will have an impact on whichever way it goes. It will have an impact on all of us in cyber by changing the landscape, especially in the arena of actions that may be emanating from Russia or from Russian-sponsored organisations. Worth taking a quick read through just to be aware, even if there's nothing that you think is going to directly affect you. As I say, your organisations or our organisations may well get swept up in things, worth being aware of what's going on. And then finally from me today, sorry it's behind a paywall, unfortunately, this one. The article that I came across was on the Times. There has been, or there is at the moment, a Nectar card scam campaign going on. It's loyalty cards scams. Loyalty card fraud is absolutely massive, rarely talked about, occasionally hits the news. Well, there's something going on at the moment. So if you use Nectar cards, as I'm sure there'll be at least some people that listen to this podcast, this briefing, that do use Nectar cards. Just be aware that this stuff is going on. Have a check to make sure that there's nothing odd going on in your account. I am personally aware of at least one account. A friend of mine has had thousands of points scammed from her account, so I know this is happening. So it's just a quick warning that this is happening. Have a check, make sure you don't get swept up in it. If you do think something is going on that is untoward with your Nectar points, raise it with Nectar themselves. They are reasonable at dealing with these sorts of things. So that's all from me for today. Hope you have a good day, and I'll speak to you all again.